Welcome to Java Servlet programming. In this video, I'm going to show you how to store data from the user interface, HTML user interface, and to the database using Java Servlets. So we are going to use a PostgreSQL database. In order to store the data, we are going to use the middleware called JDBC database connectivity. So it is a jar file, library file. It is used for connecting Java Servlet program to the database called PostgreSQL database, right? So these are the steps for storing the data. First, we need a database driver, JDBC driver, and we have to load the driver. We have to establish connection, database connection using driver manager dot get connection, and we have to execute the queries. Okay, so I'm going to show you the demonstration using NetBeans IDE. So let's open NetBeans IDE. So as soon as you open here, you can see the ID of this the editor like this. So here you need to select file, new project, and we have to select web application. So Java with Maven, web application, next, click next. So here we can give the name of the project. For example, I want to store some product details, right? So product will just will write a product management app or product management. Then we can click next, and here I have configured Apache Tomcat. In your system, if it is not installed, you have to install Apache Tomcat separately. You have to download, install, and you can configure by clicking this add button. You have to select Apache Tomcat, then you have to select next button. Here you have to it will ask server location, right? So where you have installed, right? So when you install Apache Tomcat, so you will be getting a folder in your C drive or in your program files. So that you have to locate, and you have to select that folder, Apache Tomcat folder. Okay, so I have already configured the Apache Tomcat, and so I'm going to use that. When you configure the Apache Tomcat, it will also ask username, password also. Sometimes when you install Apache Tomcat web server, so it is a web server for executing Java Servlet. Okay, so Apache Tomcat is a web server for running the Java Servlet. Okay, so when you install, you need to you will be setting username, password. So that username, password you have to set here. Okay, so currently I'm going to cancel it. So I have already configured Apache Tomcat. So we have to click finish. So when you click finish, the left side in the project view, this is a project window. Here we can see the projects will be created. Okay, so here you can see the product management app is created, and here we have a folder called web pages. So here inside web pages we can create user interface using HTML program. So this is a HTML program for designing the user interface, and we have another folder called source packages. Inside source package we have a package called com.mycompany.product management. So inside here, this is a place where we are going to create the servlet program for storing the database, right? So before that, and one more thing, once you create the project, next we have to configure the database also, right? So here in NetBeans there is an option called services. In services there is an option called database. So you have to click the database, and when you click the database here, we are going to use the database called PostgreSQL database. So if you search in internet, you can see Postgres. 1 minute. Right, so if you search in Google, you can see PostgreSQL. So this is a open source database management system. So where we can store data in a table format, row and column. Okay, so you have to download this software. Okay, before that you have to download this software, and you have to install. Okay, so select your operating system and you have to download and install. So once you install, here also it will ask username password to set username password. That username password also you have to remember. Okay, so once you install that, after installing that database, you have to click driver software, driver folder. Here we are going to connect to the PostgreSQL. So for that, this driver we are going to use PostgreSQL driver. You have to right click and this particular option, you have to right click connect, select you have to click connect, and you have to this is by default you will be getting localhost, and this is a by default thing. You have to give the password and username. Okay, whatever username password you have given. So for example, I have given VMAX. So this is my database username password. So I can test the connection also by clicking the text connection. So when I click text connection, we are getting connection succeeded, right? So if it is connection succeeded, we can ensure that the NetBeans and the database is connected together. Okay, and this is the connection URL JDBC colon PostgreSQL colon localhost 5432, and this is the database name. Okay, so here when you click, okay, next, so it will ask which schema you want to work. Okay, so there are so many schema in this database connection. So we have to attach one schema. Usually we have to select public schema and click finish. Okay, so once you click finish, so I have already configured the database connection. Once you give the click finish, you will get this link. So before that, this link will not be created. Okay, this link will be created when you create a connection. Okay, so here you can see this connection details Postgre. So this is a connection detail, right? So now we can double click here. You can right click and you can connect. Okay, so when you double click, you can see public folder. Inside public folder, you can see tables. Okay, so here only we are going to create table for storing the details. Okay, so let's create a table. So already I have a table called student like this. I want to store some product details, so I'll create a table, and the table name is products, and the column name is name of the product. So one column. The data type is varchar. Varchar is nothing but the text data, and we can give the product name size, number of character. I'm giving 50. Click OK, and we can also give add column product code. Some product code we can give, or product code is unique number we have to set. Okay, integer, let's take integer, and this must be a primary key. Okay, product code should be unique. Okay, so that we can do searching and all. And price of the product. Okay, the next data is price of the product I am going to store. So I'm going to take float 4 I'll take, or we can take float 8 bits also. Okay, right? So click OK. So these are the columns I am going to use in this table. Okay, so click OK. So when you click OK, the table will be created in the inside this database connection, PostgreSQL database. So the table you can see here. So this is the table, products table. So if you want to see the data, you can right click. There is an option called view data. So when you click view data, the table format will be displayed. Okay, so here you can see the column is name, code, price. So code should be unique. Okay, code should be unique, and you have to give only unique values. Okay, right? So in this table, we are going to store some data using Java Servlet. At the same time, we are going to take the input from the user through HTML form fields. Okay, so let's go back to the project. In project, we have a we can close this, and in the project under web pages, we have a page called index.html, right? So this index.html page look like this. So now here we are going to create the product, adding product interface. Okay, so add products. Okay, so this will show the add product interface. Using form, we can create the add product details. So in the action, we are going to give one servlet name. Okay, so save product. The servlet name is, I'm going to keep it as save product details. Okay, and the method of communication is post. I'm going to use post, and inside I'm going to ask we'll create one label. So we can design, we are going to create a text box. So label you can use, or we can use product name directly. We can use input type is equal to text. And one more thing, to access the data, to send this data to the servlet program, we need to provide variable using name attribute. Okay, so this name attribute provides the variable name for sending the data. Okay, so then next we can use line break. Similarly we can give product code. So this is actually the product. First one is product name. The second one is product code. Right. So here the name should be product code. And one more thing, this field we have to make it required. So required means it is compulsory. Everyone the data should be written by the user. Okay, the user should write the details. Okay, so then we are going to ask product price. Okay, product price. So product price also input type is equal to we can take text data or number also you can use. We can use number also. Price. Here we can use required and break. Okay, so here what we can do is, here this one we can make it number, and this one we can later will convert as a double format. Okay, so now this is a page. Now let us see the output how it is. So we will select, first we need to select the browser Google Chrome, and we have to execute the page. So when you execute from Tomcat web server, you may get username, password, they will be asking. So we have to press enter. OK. So now the application is running in this web browser. Look at this, the interface is coming. So one more thing, we need to provide submit button. So we have to use a submit button also. Okay, so this is a okay. Next we have to use submit button also. Using button tag, we can write submit button. So button type is equal to submit, and inside we are going to write save product. Okay, save product. This is a button. Okay. So now again we'll run the program. So when you do that, you can see save product is coming. Okay. So now we can enter the product details here. We are going to store in the database by using Java Servlet. So next we are going to see how to create Java Servlet. So in the project directory, we have to we can right click this. Okay, this particular package. You can right click, select new Java Servlet. So in the servlet, name should be equal to the action. Action is equal to save product, right? So here also we have to give the same name, save product. So that is the action URL. Okay, action URL. So you have to give click next, then finish. Okay. So now the servlet is created. So when the servlet is created, you will be getting more commands, so many unwanted codings. Okay, that particular code we can remove it. And this other detail and all not needed now, and you can remove this particular commands, and this process request function is not needed, we can remove that. And we want you have to click, there is one more plus symbol is here, so that you have to click, and we are going to delete this commands, and also we are going to delete this do get, and we are going to delete this commands also. So we have to keep only this do post function. Okay, so do post function, remaining all you can delete. Okay, and inside do post there is a one function called process request that you have to delete. So it look like this. Okay, so inside this package you can see save product dot java is created, right? So that is the javascript program. Okay, so now here inside you'll get so many import statement. Look at this IO exception, print writer, right? So we can simplify this by using that is also not needed. It is not needed. Let's keep the default one. Okay, so we are going to add one more package called import java.sql.star. So this is for database interaction. Okay, so this package we have to import java.sql.star. Okay, it is for database operations. Okay, JDBC database connectivity. Okay, so next we are move on to the procedure. First thing is we have to load the database driver, then we have to establish database connection, right? So where is the database driver? So we have to search in this project, we have to include the JDBC driver. Okay, we need to search JDBC driver. Okay, so that you have to include in our program. Okay, so what you have to do is it is called dependencies. Okay, it is called dependency. That driver library is a dependency. So in the left side you have, there is a dependency, right? Right click, dependency, add dependency. We have to select add dependency, right? So in the add dependency, it will, there is an option called query. Here we have to type PostgreSQL. Okay, just you have to type post. You will get, there is an option called org.postgresql. Okay, so this one you have to select, and you have to select this particular driver, local driver. You have to select add. You have to add this driver. Okay, so this driver name is org.postgresql driver. You have to click add button. So when it's click add button, the library is added. So now we can use that particular JDBC database connectivity coding. Okay, so let's try this. 1 minute. We are going to now we are going to write the database connectivity code, and we can execute the we can insert the data. Okay, so to insert, how will you do that? First thing is we have to read the product name, product code, product price from this form. Okay, we have to read the data and store. So for that, what we are going to do is, so here in this do get, okay, in the do get we have a object called request. So we have an object called request object, right? So this request object we are going to take, and using request object there is a function called get parameter for storing the data. Okay, so first one is I'm going to store the name of the product by using request dot get parameter. There is a function get parameter. Inside you have to give the name. Okay, then semicolon, then the followed by the next is integer. Code is integer, so we have to use request dot get parameter. But get parameter is actually it returns string. Always it returns string. So what we can do is we have to convert this as an integer by using integer dot parseInt. Okay, you have to convert using integer dot parseInt. Inside we have to pass this particular request dot get parameter within bracket the code. Okay, so now the second data we have stored. The third data I am going to store in a double format. Okay, that is a price of the product. So double dot parse double inside request object dot get parameter inside price. Okay, so the name of the parameter should match the name of the form input box, name, code, price. So here you have to verify whether it is matching this particular name, code, price in this parameter value. Okay, so now we got the data. So now what I'm going to do is first thing is we will be sending some response, right? So the response we have to configure using response dot set content type. Set content type we have to use. Inside set content type we are going to set the content of the response. Okay, so it is text /HTML. Okay, text or HTML we are going to set. Okay, and semicolon. Then how will you send the response? We need a print writer. Okay, we need a print writer class, that is output object we are going to create by using response dot get writer. So you have to use response dot get writer. So this response dot get writer is from IO class, java.io package. So we are taking that stream and we are going to write. So using this out, we can write data to the browser. We can send response to the browser. Okay. So now we are going to write the database coding. Database coding generates exception. So we have to use try catch block. In the try catch block, we can write exception. We can handle using this system.out.println. We can display the object, the error object we can display. Okay. So next, inside this try block, we are going to write the database interaction code. Okay. So how to store data from this Java Servlet to the PostgreSQL database. Okay. So for that we have seen certain steps. First we have to load the database driver, then establish database connection, then we have to pass SQL queries, right? So these are the steps we are going to follow. First, in order to load that, first step is load driver. So we have to use class dot for name. So inside we have to use org dot PostgreSQL SQL dot, and the driver name is driver. Okay, so this we have to use. Using class dot for name, we can load the driver. Then followed by we can after loading the PostgreSQL driver, okay, so here we have to use double quotes, not single quotes. So now the database driver is loaded. So next step is we have to make a connection. Okay, so to connect we need a connection object. So we can create a connection variable. So we have to create one connection variable using the java.sql connection. Okay, so we have to use connection con is equal to, so here the connection we can make it using driver manager dot. So there is a class called driver manager dot get connection. Okay, so we have to use driver manager dot get connection. So look at this driver manager dot get connection function. There are three parameters you need to pass. One is a database connection URL, the next is the database username, and the next password. Okay, so when you install the PostgreSQL, it is actually you will be setting the username and password, right? So that you have to give. Okay, so first is actually the connection string. So connection string is given in the database connection, right? So here you can you can see here. Okay, so you can right click and there is an option to see the properties of this connection, and you can see this connection name. Okay, so and the database URL. So you have to click here. When you click here, you can see this, the connection string. So this you can right click and you can copy this. Okay, or control C. Just copy that connection string and you can place it here. Okay. Then password is actually the username is in my system I have given PostgreSQL. That is a username, and the password is Bmax. Okay, so that is the database username and password. Okay, so then you have to give semicolon. Okay, so this is the username PostgreSQL. Okay, that is a username I have given. So you can change it to any other format. Okay, this here actually there is a system class system.out.println, then semicolon. Okay, so that's the error it's coming, right? So once you do that, we can now the connection is established, right? So connection is over. Next we have to create SQL query and we have to execute the query. Okay, so for that we are going to use a prepared statement from SQL package. So we have to include from this SQL package we have to use prepared statement. Okay, so how will you create prepared statement? Okay, so we have to type prepared, create one variable prepared statement st is equal to we are going to use the connection object dot prepare statement. Okay, so now in prepared statement we have to pass the SQL query. So we have to create the query first. Okay, we need to create query is equal to, so how to insert the data. So for that we need to use SQL queries. Okay, so if you are not familiar with SQL queries, you need to search SQL in Google. Various queries you can study. There is a website called W3 School website, and you can open this W3 School website. You can see the SQL queries. Okay, so we are going to use SQL insert into query. Okay, SQL insert into query. So this is a format how to use SQL insert query. Insert into table name, column names you have to specify within bracket, then values we have to specify the values by separating comma. Okay, so this format only we are going to use here. Okay, we are going to use insert into the table name is products. Okay, the table name we have created is products, and within bracket we can mention the column name, code and price. Okay, then followed by one space we have to give, then followed by values. Within bracket we can give based on the number of data you want to store, we have to place one placeholder using question mark. Question mark is the placeholder where the data will be finally assigned. The data from the interface will be finally assigned. Okay, so depends on the how many data you want to store, you have to place question mark. Okay, so now this particular query, this particular SQL query, we have to pass to this prepare statement. Okay, so now what will happen is it will compile this query, and if there is any syntax error it will generate the error, otherwise it will prepare the one statement. Okay, now when you prepare the statement, we can use that st dot, we can set the value for that the question mark. Okay, the question mark, first question mark will be identified by 1. Okay, 1 the question mark parameter, 1 is the parameter index. Okay, so when you give 1, it will assign value for the first question mark. Okay, so first question mark we are supposed to pass name, then second question mark is a integer, so we have to use int. Second question mark we are supposed to pass code, product code, and third question mark we are going to pass set double, and in double we are going to pass the position index is 3 and the value is price. Okay, so now the data is set for this question mark placeholder. Okay, so now we have to execute the query. So how to execute the query is we are going to execute the query here. Okay, execute the query. So to execute we have to use statement dot execute update. So there is a function called execute update. This function generates, it returns number of rows inserted. Okay, number of rows inserted based on your input. So we have to store the number of rows inserted. Okay, so we can store in a value. If this row is greater than 0, we can ensure that the data is inserted successfully. Okay, so we can print out.println. So we can say that data saved successfully. Okay, else there is a error, we have to handle the error. So we have to print error. Okay, so we have to come and we have to verify this code. Okay, so there is a username is not PostgreSQL, it is Postgres. Okay, so actually here you can see here the URL is PostgreSQL, that is a username. Okay, Postgres, that is a username. So let's save it. We'll do this modification. So before executing, just do this modification and let's run again. Okay, so we can run the program again. Right, so now let's try to store one product detail. So now we are getting the message data saved successfully. Okay, so when we can check whether it is saved or not. We have to open this services and we have a database table here, right? So we have to right click and view the product. So look at this, the product is stored successfully, iPhone 101 86,000. Okay, so like this we'll store as many products. Okay, for let's check one more product. We can go back and we can change the product name to Samsung mobile or smart TV. This is 102 and the price is 56,000. Save, data saved successfully. Now here we have a refresh button. When you click refresh button, you can see another row is added, Samsung TV, smart TV 101 102 56,000. Okay, so again we can store some other product, for example Samsung tab. This product code is 103 and product code should be unique. Okay, so if you give again 102, you will get error. Okay, so ensure that that is not repeated. Okay, so we have to give the 40,000. Okay, so now let's see the output, data saved successfully. So we are getting the another one more product is saved, Samsung tab. Okay, so like this in we can store data from the client interface HTML. We can HTML form, we can collect the data, product details, and we can read using get parameter, and we can we have to use that driver software, right? Driver module we have to use. We are going to use PostgreSQL driver, and using get connection we can make a connection and create a query using prepared statement, prepare this query without any error, then we can execute. Okay, right? So that's all about how to store data from HTML from HTML interface in a PostgreSQL database through Java server-side program called Java Servlet. Okay, so thank you all.